So, what does it really take to be an innovator in tech today? It's definitely more than just a big idea. In this explainer, we're going to deconstruct what a modern creator actually looks like by digging into a real-world profile, a story told almost entirely through code. All right, let's start with a question. When you hear the words researcher, scientist, and engineer, what do you picture? You probably think of three totally different people, right? The researcher buried in books, the scientist in a lab coat, the engineer looking at blueprints. But is that really how things work anymore?
You know, back in the day, these roles were pretty separate. It was like a relay race. A researcher would discover something, a scientist would figure out the why, and then an engineer would build something with it. But the modern innovator? They don't just stay in one lane. They're doing all three, often at the same time.
To see what I mean, we're going to look at a real-life example. We're diving into the public GitHub profile of a creator named Ajinkya Gorad. Think of it as our case study, a profile that tells a story through code, giving us a really clear look at this new kind of innovator.
And right off the bat, you can see what I'm talking about. Look at his title. It's not just one thing, it's all of them. Researcher, scientist, and engineer. He's based in Helsinki, and he's also built this whole digital world around his work, connecting his code to academic papers, his professional life, and even a YouTube channel.
Okay, so the bio claims this triple threat identity, but what does that actually mean? What kind of stuff does a person who wears all three of those hats really build? Let's get into the projects themselves, because this is where it gets really interesting. We're going to check out a few key projects from his profile that give us a fascinating peek into this blend of skills. We're talking robots, radio signals, and some serious brainpower. First step, this logarithmic spiral arm. Now that description is a lot, but it's packed with clues. It mentions 3D-STL, which is a file for 3D printing, and it points to a scientific paper about spiral robots. So what in the world is a logarithmic spiral? Well, it's a shape you see literally everywhere in nature, from nautilus shells to entire galaxies. And this is a perfect example of that blend of roles. A scientist observes this pattern in nature. An engineer sees its potential for robotics, in this case, for a robot arm that can pick things up with the amazing flexibility of an elephant's trunk. So this project isn't just some code on a screen. No, it's a physical thing you can actually 3D print, and it's all controlled by Python code. It's taken a beautiful idea from biology to solve a tough engineering problem, perfectly mixing the world of physical atoms with the world of digital bits. Okay, let's switch gears to a project that's all digital. This one is all about grabbing GPS signals out of the air with a cheap little radio device and pulling out the raw data. It sounds super technical, I know, but the basic idea is just fascinating. You know that little blue dot on your phone that shows you where you are? That's the finished product. But way before that, it all starts here, with raw data. These are the super faint, incredibly complex signals being beamed down from satellites. Just being able to catch them and make any sense of them is a huge challenge. Just think about the mix of skills you need for this. You've got to understand radio frequency engineering to even capture these invisible waves, but then you also need some serious software skills, using tools like MATLAB to process those signals into something useful. This isn't one job, it's at least two working together perfectly. Now, seeing these projects is one thing, but what's just as important is where we're seeing them. On GitHub, a totally public platform. And this brings us to a really crucial part of the modern innovator's playbook, the idea of working out in the open. So this project has 22 stars. Now, is that a viral number? No, but that's not the point. Not at all. The number itself isn't about fame. Every single one of those stars is someone out there in the community saying, hey, this is interesting, or this is actually useful. It's a small signal of engagement that you only get by sharing your work.
So it really begs the question, why do this? Why would you put your code, your designs, your half-baked ideas out there for anyone to see and even to criticize? Because doing that transforms your personal project into a public portfolio, and it becomes a contribution to a huge global community.
All right, so we've looked at the identity, the projects, and the philosophy behind sharing it all. So what's the big takeaway here? What's the blueprint we can pull from this one profile?
It really boils down to three key things. First, master more than one field. Don't live in a box. Combine different disciplines. Second, connect bits to atoms. The most amazing work today is happening where software meets the real physical world. And third, share what you learn. Building in public isn't about showing off. It's about giving back, learning faster, and creating a real record of what you can do.
When you look at it this way, this one profile gives us a powerful blueprint for what a modern innovator looks like. Part researcher, part scientist, part engineer, all working out in the open. But the real question isn't just about what this person has built. It's about what this model can inspire. So which fields will you combine, and what will you build next?